want to spend eternity with Christ. This one was Psalms chapter 46, verse 10 says. This is the answer right here. It's so simple. It says, be still and know that I am God. Somebody say after me, say, be still and know that I am God. Everybody say, be still. Look at the person next, say, be still. Look at the person on the other side, say, be still. Say it again, be still. Listen, what it says right here. In the Hebrew, when you study this, in the Hebrew, the word be still, or the phrase be still, means this. It says, quit holding on to the things that are weighing you down spiritually. That's what be still means. In other words, quit holding on to those attitudes that you have. Quit holding on to that lustful mind that you have. You got to look at a girl. You got to look at a guy. Quit holding on to just being lazy. I just don't want to do anything. I just don't want to go to church. I just don't want to do my homework. I just don't want to listen, to my teachers. Quit holding on to that type of mind. The Bible says, be still. What does that mean in Hebrew? Quit holding on to the things that's weighing you down. That's weighing you down spiritually. There's different things. Everybody in here is not struggling with the same thing. Some of you have a struggle with lust. And it's not just talking about the lust of the flesh where you just like this girl, you like this guy, but the lust of just different desires that you want more of it. You can't help yourself. You got to have a game. You just got to do something. You just got to, somebody help me out here. You got to have your iPod. You got to have music with you. It's just different things. And the Bible says here, Psalms 46:10 says, be still. Quit holding on to those things that are weighing you down spiritually. Be still and know that I am God. Some of you, I just want to ask you to raise your hand. Who wants to just, you want to spend eternity with Christ. You want to have a deeper relationship with Christ. You want to just be with God where you can feel His presence. And a lot of you raise your hand. My challenge and my encouragement to you is that you would memorize this verse. Psalms 46, verse 10. Be still and know that I am God. Once we be still, once we keep holding on to our way of thinking that, I'm all right just to come to church. I'm all right. I don't have to pray. It's all good. Once we let go, we quit holding on to our way of thinking, then we allow God to come and do what He wants to do in our lives. How many of you see what I'm talking about? Let go. So we can invest time in God's presence and see the supernatural. This one I wrote here on my notes. As we spend time with God, it molds us to having a spirit of anticipation. The more I spend time with God, the more, number one, I start being like Him. And number two, the more an anticipation comes just molding inside of me, or just stirring inside of me, where I begin to see the things of God take place right before my eyes. Even whenever you're asking for prayer for something and you need God to do something in your life, maybe you're struggling with your grades and it's, even though school has started, but you're struggling how to keep up in class. All you got to do is say, Lord, I pray that you help me. And even in the prayers, in those simple prayers, God will come on your behalf simply because you're spending time, or let me just rephrase that, not spending time. Spending is just letting go away. Simply because you're investing. Somebody say investing. You're investing time with the Lord. You're investing time with God. You're being with God. You imagine yourself, God filling you up with His presence, and you just want those things to take place. And when God begins to just impart into you, stir up within you a spirit of anticipation, things begin to happen. Why? Because you're spending time in God's presence. I think about the story of Daniel, and we hear this story about King Darius, where he issues a decree. He was highly favored by King Darius. Daniel was. And he had 3 men that were over all these, a bunch of the land. But these 2 other guys that he worked with were very jealous of Daniel because of the things that he did, because he was favored by God. And they decided to trick the king and issue a decree that they only had to pray to him and not to any other gods, and that they caught anybody that was praying to any of the gods or praying at all, just praying to any of the gods, that they would take them and throw them in the lion's den. Haven't you heard that story? And so as I remember the story, and I was getting ready for this, for the word for tonight, this is what it says in Daniel chapter 6, verse 10. It says this. It says, now when Daniel learned that the decree had been published, he went home to his upstairs room where the windows opened toward Jerusalem. It says 3 times a day he got down on his knees and prayed. Somebody say pray. And prayed, giving thanks to his God, just as he had done before. What is happening here? They came to King Darius and they said, you got to issue this law, man. Nobody can pray to any other God except you. And King Darius, he liked this law. And they did it on purpose so that they knew that Daniel would go pray. They knew that Daniel prayed to his God. And whenever they saw Daniel in that room with the windows open, they saw Daniel praying. They're like, we got him now. We got him now. Let's go get him. And so when they went to go tell the king that they saw Daniel praying, he's like, Daniel was very favored. I mean, King Darius liked Daniel. He had favor with him. And so as they went to go get Daniel, he went into the lion's den, and he knew, as you and I know the story, that nothing happened to him because he continued to pray after God. What happens here? Well, Psalms 46 verse 10 says to be still. He didn't hold on to the law that was passed. He didn't hold on to the fear that he had, because I mean, understand what I'm saying? If President Bush or the president issued a law that if you prayed to the other God, you would be killed, how many would be scared in here? You know what I'm saying? If that would happen, and here's Daniel, and he's saying, you know what? The law has been issued, but you know what? I cannot help myself. I have to spend time with God. The way you are with that boy or that girl, that you can't help yourself, you got to just talk to them on the phone. You got to just spend time with them at 3 o'clock in the morning. Can you have that same mentality that, you know what? I don't care what's happening in my life. I don't care if even though she likes me all this much and she says she loves me and she wants to wait for me, or he wants to wait for me, or he loves me, you know what? I am still going to spend time with God. I still have to talk to God. How do you understand what I'm saying? Eternity was in his heart, where his life was devoted to Christ, that all he wanted to do is spend time with Christ. Listen, my encouragement to you guys tonight is this. Evan, can you come up here to the keys and play? Is that, you know what, you and I, when we invest more time in the presence of God. What does that mean? Because what is the presence? We think about, when we hear the presence of God, we think of, you know, you got to be holy, or you got to, you know, just cross your legs and, what do you call it? Meditate. You know, we think about the presence of God, but listen, the presence of God is totally different. The presence of God, what it comes in and does is it comes and brings us the love that we need. It comes and brings us the joy that we need. It comes and brings us the hope that we need. When we feel like we want to give up, when we feel like we want to let go of school, when we feel like, you know what, I don't want to do anything, I don't want to have to do anything with church, and when we have those emotions, when we have those feelings, I guarantee you guys that when you go to God and you just say, Lord, listen, I can't do it anymore. I need you. I'm tired of feeling the same old stuff. I'm tired of feeling these emotions. I'm tired of feeling this, that, whatever. Just be honest with God. And as you're honest with God, God will come just fill your life with his presence. I'm going to tell you something, guys. If there's anything that the enemy wants to do within your life, is he wants to keep you away from having a relationship with God. He wants to keep you away from spending time with him in his presence. I really believe that the enemy, what he's trying to do is he's trying to hold us from having a relationship with God. You know why we're ineffective at school, and we can't tell, we're afraid to tell other people about Jesus. We're afraid to go into the church and do things for God. The reason we're afraid is because the enemy is putting things in our life, and he's trying to hold us down from doing what he wants to do in your life. We have to get in his presence more. And my encouragement to you guys is that we have to invest time in being in God's presence. As we invest that time in being with God and him being with us, the Bible says that as we draw near to him, he will draw near to us. And as we do that,